Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kelly Ferguson. A little over a year ago, I started this journal when my mom was in hospice. And I have kept this journal as a way to not only document what was kind of going on in hospice on her last few days, but I'm also writing about what it's like to maintain this relationship in her physical absence. And that's kind of still hard to articulate, which is why I'm journaling about it. So what I wanted to do today is just share with you some of the entries that I have done so far and just share a little bit of the process of how I'm using photojournaling in this particular way. So let me turn the camera around to the art table. So here I just kind of chronicled a few of the, things that were happening the last few days that my mom was in hospice. And I also wrote notes as I was preparing a video presentation for her service. So I have a lot of that in here. And then I also put her, the invitations that we sent out, entries where I wrote to her on my birthday. So this is where I really started to incorporate more photojournaling into this process. So this was last year on her birthday, and I set up my camera to take a photo, but this is a red pot that I went out and bought her to put this succulent in. And then I combined some of her ashes into the soil. This is something I wanted to do to honor her for her birthday. What was really cool about this particular photo is that there was this beam of light that just kind of was grazing over my hand, and I like to think that that was my mom. This was the last photograph that I had professionally, like with my mother, back in the early 2000s. At this particular time, my mom was divorced from my father. She wanted to have pictures with her kids. So, and I have two other siblings, and I'm really glad that I have this portrait with my mom when she was like feeling better. Since this past weekend was the 1-year service anniversary, I wanted to just document a little bit about the weekend because I certainly thought about her quite a bit. Some potential ideas that you can record in your photojournal are, documenting what the experience is like, maintaining a relationship in their absence. You can write about that and how it feels different and what feels difficult about it, what feels maybe nurturing about it. I often feel like most connected to her when I'm on my walks. I like to kind of talk to her when I'm on my walks. And another thing that I have been thinking about documenting are like moments that, I want to like share with her, or things that I would typically like call her up and tell her about. Those are types of things that you can write in your journal. Maybe there is something that you see out in the world and you take a photograph of it, and maybe it's something that you would want your loved one to see. You can write about that. Like there are times where I've like felt my mother's like influence, either in a decision I've made or maybe something that I've put on that day, like worn, and I've like thought like, oh, this is a very Anne Ferguson thing to wear, or this is a very Anne Ferguson thing to say. I might journal about that. I don't know. I like having a dedicated journal where I can write about my relationship specifically with my mother and in this new dynamic that we have. So I find it really valuable and healing and supportive to me along my grief journey. So, I just wanted to share that as like maybe something that would bring you comfort with someone that you love. Because I do believe that even though the relationship dynamic has changed, I do believe that their energy and spirit is very much alive, and we are connected to our loved ones on the other side. I definitely believe that my mother feels me connecting with her, and therefore that exchange is very much still alive. I hope that this inspired some ideas of maybe starting your own journal. I don't know if like if it's like a grief journal, or, you know, you can call it whatever you want. You can, you know, maybe title this one like Life with My Mom on the Other Side, or I don't know. Like there's, and you don't even have to title it, but I'm just, you know, it's an interesting concept if it's something that you want to lean into. So in closing, I'm going to leave the video there. I'm going to do some journaling here and maybe a little bit of art on this page. So I'm going to leave you with me kind of doing that, and I will see you in the next video.